Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Jonathan here. Today we're going to be looking at Enscape 4. That was very exciting this week. Enscape released a massive new update to their amazingly popular real-time rendering software, and we've got some really amazing new features to cover in today's video. Now, if you're a Mac user, you're going to be super pleased because the new version on Mac is almost exactly the same as Windows now. And this is one of the big motivations behind the update. There's also some really cool new features. We've got some new animated assets that are going to be amazing. Things like trees that blow in the wind and so on. We've got new materials as well in the library and loads of other really cool features. So let's get started with the video, and I'll be showing you this on my Mac mainly and talking about these new Mac features where possible. But if you're a Windows user, there's some great things in store for you too. So let's take our first look at the new version of Enscape 4 running on my Apple Mac. And the software that I'm going to actually use this version of Enscape with, of course, is my favourite CAD software for 3D and BIM workflows, which of course is Vectorworks. Now you notice I've got a really nice little project here. This is one that I've just designed a little while ago. It's in for planning at the moment and looking forward to getting this planning approved quite shortly, hopefully. I'm really just running through a couple of the save views just to show you before we do get to Enscape, just a quick reminder of how great Vectorworks is actually for the rendering style. So one of the nice things with Vectorworks, if you do want to, you can kind of basically set up lots of things like save views. You can even use things like HDRI backgrounds directly in the RenderWorks environment as well. And there's a nice little built-in range of these. And you'll notice that once you bring those into the model, you get these lovely reflections of things like the blue tint and the sky as well. So look, the rendering quality of Vectorworks is really good these days, even in the shaded mode. But hang on a bit, because wait till you see how good Enscape is. You will be blown away by how amazing this is with just a few clicks. So make the most of your Vectorworks rendering 100%, and then when you kind of get to a point where you need to take things a little bit further, Enscape is set as a partner product. And you can basically see that if we go down to Tools, Partner Products, this is how you can actually add Enscape to your workspace. Now, there's no reason not to try this out. If you follow the link on my video, you can basically get yourself a free trial for 14 days. So a full unlimited version with 14 days of use. So get stuck into that trial, and then if you do want to buy Enscape, please give me a call or drop me an email. I'm an Enscape reseller in the UK and Ireland, and I'll be very pleased to help with that as well. Right, so here we go. We're on Enscape now. We've got it installed, and all I really need to do in order to launch Enscape is basically with a single click, go onto my Enscape palette. Just before we do this, by the way, I'm just going to turn off these things like dimensions. So we'll just turn those off in the viewport as well. And you'll notice that just looks a lot cleaner. Okay, let's go for it. So we click on Enscape Renderer, go up to the button where we click Start Enscape, and if I just pop out of full screen mode, on my other screen, you'll notice that Enscape is actually firing up as we speak. So the real beauty of Enscape is it really acts like a plugin for your 3D CAD or BIM software. And of course it works with Revit, ArchiCAD, Rhino, SketchUp and a bunch of other software as well. But honestly, it really is impressive with Vectorworks. I would definitely encourage you to try Vectorworks if you're new to 3D, maybe you're using AutoCAD or SketchUp at the moment. So navigating around is really easy, and you can notice that we've actually got the help system here with all the commands. So we've got the traditional WASD keys for moving around, E and Q for moving up and down, and then things like spacebar to fly around as well or walk. We can also use the left and the right mouse button to navigate. So you'll be very familiar with this if you've used any other real-time rendering software or gaming environments as well. So for those of you who like computer games, obviously this will translate very nicely into moving around the model. And you'll notice up in the top left hand corner that I've just invoked something called the mini map as well, and this can be used to drag your mouse around, but you can also use it to see the position and the direction that you actually are within your model as well. So you've got a nice simplistic diagram just to kind of keep you located as well. Okay, so one of the other things I've always loved about Enscape is just this ability to rearrange the lighting in real time. So if you click the U key or the I key, or alternatively hold down the Shift key and the right click on the mouse, you'll notice that you got that time of day and you can kind of like see the sky outside going into the night time. gradually coming through to the morning and that lovely sun rays coming into the design, and you can basically really kind of perfect your lighting, you know, very, very dynamically in real time. So very, very easy to get the lighting just so, and there's lots of further adjustments in the visual settings as required if needed. Okay, so if we go up to the top left hand corner of the screen, you're going to notice one of the really nice new features of Enscape 4 is they've overhauled the icons and the interface a little bit as well. So these are now kind of black icons, and they glow blue when you actually click on them. Now you can see I'm just in the process of setting up a new view, and this is something also that's really, really nice because it's dynamic, and what it basically does, it sends that view back to your CAD software. So in my case, Vectorworks. So when I actually go back to my Vectorworks modeling software, I'll actually have these set views. Now you can also see that for the very first time on the Mac, we've now got an integrated asset library directly in the Enscape window. Now this really is fantastic because previously you had to add all the assets in Vectorworks, but now you can actually add them directly in Enscape if you prefer as well. So to do this, you simply click on the model to place the asset. You'll notice that once you've actually placed the guy, for example, we can click onto the rotate. So just select and basically rotate the object as well. We get a nice little kind of rotation widget, if you like, popping up. So we can kind of bring that round and try and sort of get this guy to sort of sit naturally on the sofa. So when you feel you've got the model in the right position, you can click apply changes, and basically that model will then appear fully rendered. Now, as you can see, I didn't quite place the chap correctly, so you can always go and select them afterwards. Then you get the widget popping up, and you can kind of readjust both the sort of position there and perhaps also the vertical position, just take him up a little bit so he feels a bit more natural. Apply the changes, and hopefully that will look a lot better. Fantastic. So he looks very, very natural there. So having the new Enscape asset library basically built into your sort of Enscape window on the Mac is a real bonus. It does actually make it much, much faster to add both props, not only from Vectorworks itself, but also directly from Enscape. You can see there's a little bit of a delay sometimes when you click on the icon while it just loads in, so just be aware of that. But basically once selected, just got to wait for a second, then the icon appears. Now, of course, Enscape uses proxies, and these will basically be low resolution proxies until we click apply changes. And then the fully rendered high quality asset will appear. And as you can see, these assets, honestly, from Enscape are pretty amazing. So I'm just going to continue doing a little bit of propping out in my window here. As I say, this is the very first time we've had this capability on the Mac platform. And actually with Enscape 4, you know, this, as well as some of the new features that you'll find in the software, was one of the big sort of new features in that the Mac and the Windows version are basically now very consistent. Mac users were always a bit behind in terms of the release of Enscape, but now on the Mac, Enscape has taken a massive leap forward once again with things like this new asset library plus other sort of feature parity, if you like, with the Windows version. So one of the best things about Enscape is not only the final render quality is absolutely stunning, the speed of rendering is absolutely amazing as well. And if we go into my Mac sort of system analysis and look at things like the processor, the GPU, and the performance, this is going to give me a little bit of an insight into what's going on when I'm actually doing the renders. So you can see on a Mac M1 Pro, so a few years old now, this little Mac, but it's absolutely solid, you know, and I've been getting really great performance. What this tells you though is that the GPU is actually at full steam ahead. There's my GPU. There's the processors, so really only 2 cores going, a full blast, and the others are hardly working. So really, most of the work is being done by your GPU. So if you want the fastest rendering possible, get the best GPU you can afford. If you're on a Windows PC, obviously an RTX graphics card will give you extra capability. But if you're on a Mac, go for any of the Apple Silicon models. And of course, the M3 has a really nice new chip with ray tracing built in. So for any of you out there, I would love to see some comments on how this performs for you when you get the new trial of Enscape. If you've got an M3, let me know. Okay, so you can see here we've got that final image quality. Look at the quality when we zoom in. Things like those glasses and the apples just look incredible. But you know, to be fair, looking at it on screen looks great as well. Now, when you go back to Vectorworks, of course, suddenly things do look a bit different. We've now got our basic Enscape proxies have been added directly into Vectorworks. Now the great thing with the proxies is they don't take up much memory, so you can have a lot of these proxies added to your Vectorworks or CAD model without sort of, sacrificing performance, as it were. I also like to sometimes put them in a layer or a class so that I can actually turn them off. So what I'm going to attempt to do now is go split screen for you. Obviously what I normally do is run Vectorworks on one monitor and Enscape on my other big 32-inch monitor, and that is a very, very nice experience, I can assure you. So I'm in basically a little mode in Vectorworks where I've automatically hidden my side palettes, and you can see that if I go to my Enscape, there is a Synchronize View button. Now what that means is if I move around in Vectorworks using, say, the walkthrough tool, basically I can synchronize my Enscape view. You can see over on that other side of the screen on the right side is Enscape doing exactly what it's supposed to do. I can also pop out my side panels and Vectorworks and adjust those save views. Now at any time I can swing into the Enscape window and adjust things like the lighting. That will be independent from Vectorworks. So only the view itself is this synchronized bit, not the lighting and the other things as well. When I'm ready, I can go and create a view in Enscape, readjust that final bit of lighting and sun position as well. I think that's excellent. When I click Create View, you'll notice if I go back to Vectorworks now and just pop out my side panel, there is that brand new save view. So you can access all the views that we've created in Enscape in our single truth model, if you like, in Vectorworks or whatever CAD software you're using. So this is the huge benefit of Enscape over many of the other rendering softwares. They do work very, very closely together. See it as an enhancement or like a plugin for your CAD software. So one of the other really nice features now, we've now got the video editor on the Mac, really, really easy to use with Enscape. So all you need to do is click onto your view, and basically when you're ready, you click on the plus sign to start and add a keyframe, and then basically just move the view until you're kind of ready to set up another keyframe. And basically that's it. You just kind of do like, most of a sort of 3D software, a number of keyframes will actually create a very nice smooth animation. So I'm just kind of tweaking and adjusting my view a little bit before I click on the plus sign to add another keyframe. And let's sort of see how this animation pans out. But honestly, it only takes a few clicks. There are cool things you can do, like adjust the time of day as well. But if I'm ready, I can just rewind, click play, and basically just preview in real time my window of my animation in Enscape, moving around in this lovely level of rendered quality as well. So I could render this movie out at 4K when I'm ready. Now you notice there's also a couple of nice new options here. The shaky camera option is one that's quite popular if you just want to kind of give it the appearance of it being a bit more sort of handheld. I mean, it kind of just makes the animation just look a little bit more kind of realistic in some ways, a little bit less smooth as well. So nice little option to have. Now when you're ready, you can obviously render these animations out, and I will do those, maybe a couple of those at the end of the video, so make sure you hang around right to the end. So we'll just save the video path, and that means that we can always come back to that video a bit later when we're ready to render it out. Okay, so next up I just want to have a little look at a couple of other things on Enscape itself, which I think are really, really cool features. So as well as sort of being able to move around in real time, I really love the way that you can also do things like orthogonal views. Now, at the moment, I'm in Vectorworks with my linked view set up, my sort of synchronized view. So if you do have your synchronized view set up in your CAD software, you might just need to unclick this. And what that will enable you to do now, you'll notice, is go to the projection settings and actually change it over to orthogonal. So the really nice thing about orthogonal projections is they're very sort of architectural in that you get these nice sort of axonometrics or even sort of elevations and things like that. Now they can be a bit more hard to manipulate the view, so I'd recommend you maybe either set these up in your CAD software first, or just kind of like get the feel for how to actually navigate around. But you can see here I am in a sort of very much an isometric type view of this little development here, and it looks really, really great with the sort of trees, and those are actually Vectorworks trees that have translated quite nicely into Enscape itself. So as ever, I'm able to manipulate the time of day and things like the azimuth just to kind of change the sort of shadow direction and angles before I actually kind of create my save view as well. So let's create that save view. We can always come back and batch render these out later, but do remember that save view will also go back to my Vectorworks CAD software as well. So let's finally create that save view and spin around for another view. So I'm just going to kind of keep working on my projection, and basically I'm just going to pop into visual settings, and this time I want to maybe like render like a white card view. So all I need to do is pop down to the white card mode. Here I've also got the option to introduce a few sort of outlines, and this kind of gives everything a bit of a crisper sort of outline edge. Just get a bit more definition on the sort of lines of the architectural sort of building itself and those trees. You can see you get a really nice sort of almost like white card model effect. You'll notice that glass is still transparent, which is actually really, really cool. And basically, if you just adjust the lighting to get some light on that front face, you know, that honestly could be a card model. So these kind of renderings are always very popular with architects, and obviously, you know, the nice thing about these is they don't show materialism. So if you're kind of really looking for form and massing and just sort of the impact of the building in its environment, without getting too focused into what colour the brick is or the, you know, the cladding, these kind of renderings are fantastic, and they only take a few seconds and look pretty awesome. So personally, I definitely think Enscape produces some of the nicest white card models out the box, as it were, very, very straightforwardly. Okay, so let's have a look at our model back again in normal view. I'm also keen to show you how easy it is to adjust things like the atmosphere. You've got real control over things like the cloud, the longitude and the latitude, and the sort of the amount and variety of those different clouds. Now you can actually load in HDRI backgrounds as well, but I actually quite like the Enscape sort of backgrounds itself. Remember, if you are rendering for high-end CGI, if you render out with an alpha channel, that means that you can actually replace that background super easily. So as you can see, navigating around in real time is very, very doable and a really high quality as you're moving around. Now, one of the things I really love about Enscape, as I say, is the interactivity with your CAD software. So let's just pop into the split screen view one more time. And basically I'm going to select my Vectorworks viewport, pop into layers, and I can, for example, turn off the roof layer, click OK, and literally within a second or so, immediately on the Enscape scene, you'll see that the roof has now been turned off. So, you know, this is really great, having all the things like the layer control on your CAD software. Immediately you'll be able to see that reflected over in your model as well. So this looks really, really good. And of course, we can easily enable us to create sort of things like nice rendered floor plans. So let me just zoom in and straighten this up a little bit if I can. And basically, there we go. That's sort of a nice little view. Let's basically create a view and tweak the lighting. So those nice shadows coming into that view, looking good. Let's change the azimuth so we can kind of get those sharp sort of shadows just to get a nice impression of the depth, and basically render out and create that view. So rendered floor plans are an absolute breeze with Enscape, and definitely something that really kind of enhance your architectural presentation styles. So one of the final new features that I really want to show you is just to go over to the asset library once again and go down to vegetation. Now you will notice that there's lots of really nice vegetation in Enscape as before, but if we go on to trees, you're going to notice that there's even more assets available here. And one really, really nice thing that I just want to show you here, that if I scroll down and just find a nice appropriate tree, so let's say we want to add a few of these into our project. So these are nice Evermotion trees. Basically I can kind of click to place those dynamically in my project. I can rotate them. Let's just place a couple more. These are quite large trees, of course. And just wait for a second until those appear in Enscape. So let's go into Enscape full screen and navigate around. Now, what do you notice? Well, of course, you notice that these are animated now. And this is really, really nice. So as you're moving around the model, you get this nice impression of these animated trees. Unlike the Vectorworks ones, which of course translate okay, but they don't animate. So really, really nice when you're just kind of looking in your model, even when you're not moving around. They look pretty good, but when you move, they actually animate beautifully. So really, really great library of trees and things like this. The other aspect of this is the asset library of things like the new people. So let's just have a quick look at this as well. So our Enscape asset library is loaded. Let's just basically click on categories. Let's go down to people. So here we go. We've got quite a lot of different people available. And you'll notice that some of these are sort of my favorites. So I've got them favorited already. Basically, otherwise we can just basically click and then we can place those different people. Let's just place another one. Maybe not him. Let's just go for this dude. And that's, you can see it's quite quick. Basically click and place. We can also, let's just have a quick look at the vehicles as well. So really, really nice, the Enscape vehicles. So, you know, all these sort of 3D softwares have these different assets that you can kind of place into your projects. And basically once you've got them in, remember that you can also rotate them as well. So the good thing about this in Enscape is that these will actually kind of go back into my project once I click apply changes. So this actually sort of sends them back into my Vectorworks project. And if we go into Vectorworks full screen, you'll see there they appear in fully rendered mode. When you get down to eye level, you can see that things like the people look really, really good, and the trees and the cars look excellent as well. Compared to the Vectorworks cars, you know, these look, Enscape ones look absolutely miles better. Now do remember the other really nice thing, that if I kind of just bring Enscape back across, go over to my Vectorworks project, you know, you'll see that those Enscape low poly assets have been added into my scene here as well. So very, very nice little aspect. Well, everybody, I really hope you've enjoyed this Enscape 4 new features video. I'm really excited to test out Enscape a bit more in the future. So if you are new around here, do make sure you like and subscribe the channel, and I look forward to seeing you in the next ones. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye bye.